And hello and welcome to another episode of the Young Tongues podcast. My name is Barbara Fountain and I'm the founder and CEO of the peer-to-peer support group, the Young Tongues. We support young tongue cancer patients from around the globe aged 18 till 64. And we bring you another fabulous episode with a member of our community. So please join me with a warm welcome to our friend Mus Tarry. Mus, it's so lovely to have you here. Now, we always like to get to know everyone beyond the cancer diagnosis. So just let us know, who is Mus?
Thanks, Barbara. It's really great to be on. I'm just pretty ordinary person that's out for a swim. I enjoy running and exercising, things like that. And also in my spare time, I'm a local councillor in Surrey for Rohit and Bamford. So that all hits off a few years ago when we moved out to Surrey from Croydon. And just regular chat, and unfortunately got diagnosed with this not nice disease about 18 months ago.
Absolutely. Well, so my question would be then, if we take you back, when did you first realise that something wasn't right?
So probably throughout 2022, I was getting ulcers on my tongue, but they was going away and coming back. So I didn't really think anything of it. And then one day I was running, and I was sort of stumbling, I bit my thumb quite badly when I was running. I was like, oh, it was bleeding quite a bit. I was like, that doesn't look nice. But I was like, I bit my thumb before it, really painful. But I was like, it'll be fine. And then after a few weeks, I think after 2 weeks, it wasn't getting any better, and it looked really sore. So I I went to the doctors and was just like, that this looks a bit nasty. I'm not happy. So, I mean, my doctors were amazing. I can't like fault them. I ran them and got an appointment that same day. They were like, send us a photo first, and then we'll let you know. And as soon as they saw the photo, I was like, no, come in. Got an appointment that day. Saw the doctor. The doctor was like, that looks nasty. Take some antibiotics, see what happens, take a mouthwash, and then come back in a week if it's not any better. Pain went away a little bit, so I was like, oh, maybe it's working, but I didn't know if it was psychological or not, so I was just like, okay. Went back and she was like, no, I don't like the look of that. I'm going to refer you to EMT. And I was like, what's EMT? And she was like, oh, ear, nose and throat specialist. I was like, okay. I was like, why? She was like, I'm going to refer you. I just want to make sure it's anything sinister. I was like, what do you mean sinister? And she was like, well, and then she's like, just nothing bad or maybe cancer. I was like, what? Okay. And I was like, I'll let you refer.
You wouldn't think from biting your tongue to cancer that isn't a natural leap to
No.
do. At the time, Mus, how old were
I was
you?
38.
38. So spring
Yeah.
chicken, like. Okay, so you go and have your referral. What happened
So
next?
I went and had the referral. So the first surgeon I saw, I never saw him again, which was like really interesting. He was like, yeah, because I thought went to the doctors and literally got a referral the next day. They called me the next day for an appointment like a week or two later. Went there and he was like, right, I don't think it's cancer, but I'm gonna take a biopsy. When can you do it? And I was with my wife and we were just like, well, so then go back to the reception, see when this can get in. And they're like, now looking back, my wife always says the slip they gave me for it was red. She was like, I should have known then that something was up when they had the red slip to take to the. So I was,
Yeah.
I'm like, over my head. I'm like, it's just a sip. I sent it in,
Yeah.
and they were like, well, we can fit you in this afternoon. If you can. So I ran my boss and was just like, look, they can fit me in this afternoon. I just take the rest of the day off. She was like, yeah, fine, just sort it. So had the biopsy that afternoon, which I know when we had the conversation about this, when we met up in the summer, out of everything that I've had, the biopsy injection for the most painful thing that I've ever been through, because they did right where now I know where the ulcer was, but where the tumour was, full injection.
Mm.
I was literally sitting there going, this is it. Followed by the best feeling in the world, because everything went numb and I didn't feel any pain for the first time in about a month. So I was just
Mhm.
like, ah. So they sent that away and they said, look, the zip that should be within 3 weeks, and that, and then I think a week later, they saw a phone to say had been through the results the following week, and then that's when I met my surgeon, Mr. Pritesh Patel, who works at where he used to work at Queen Victoria Hospital in East Grinstead.
Mm.
And so I met him for the first time, and looked him, and then I'm sitting there home, didn't think anything of it, but then afterwards my wife says she noticed there's two Macmillan nurses in the room. I was just like, then seeing another doctor, and then he was just like, so tell me what happened, went through it for like the fifth time, this is who asked him about the symptoms, and he was just really honest with it. He went, well, okay, unfortunately it is cancer. But then proceeded straight after that to tell me exactly what they were going to do. It's like, then have to have an operation. We'll take a graft from either your arm or your leg. They'll take it out. You might spend up to 2 weeks in hospital, and then after that, we'll see what happens whether you need radiotherapy and that. So in that moment, I was like, well, okay, so I've had cancer, but she's also told me exactly what the plan is and how we're going to deal with it. Because then
Mhm.
at that time, he was just like, right, what this is, visit it into some more sands, make sure it's not spread, there's a CT, all that, and then take it from there. So straight away, I'm like, okay, well, we've got a plan. I have no idea what's going on, but let's just deal with it. So, um,
Yeah.
from that
And your wife was with you
yeah,
during
so
that as
she
well? Yeah.
automatically she started crying. So straight away I'm like, well, I can't cry now. um, so I
Mhm.
was like, okay, just sitting there, nothing away. I remember everything she said, but so my surgeon is from New Zealand, and he's got such a laid back New Zealand accent. So from the first time I met him, he just put me at ease. He's just very relaxed, telling me how
Mhm.
it is. I don't know how old he is, but I think he's like he looks very young, but he's got a lot of experience, and you can tell from the way all the other doctors and nurses speak about him that he's very good, and like even one of the registrars said to me, like, if he had a problem, he'd want him to
Mm.
deal with it. So when you hear that
Yeah.
from another surgeon, you're like, wow.
Yeah. No, I think that's always a really important part, actually. The same thing happened to me in the sense that once I left the room with Mr. James, who was my surgeon, every one of the support people or the other healthcare professionals couldn't like stop telling me how amazing he is, and I really felt it was genuine, and I was like, and it really reassured me because it was really right. Okay, I've got someone here who knows what they're doing, and also calm guy. I think surgeons in general are quite calm
Yeah,
people,
the,
at least in their professional capacity. I don't know in their other
don't know how I
life.
feel with a nervous one. This is about.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, I don't think I could. Actually, that's not true. That's true. I just remembered I did have a checkup once with someone who was it's just of a slight nervous disposition. So nothing. I had nothing to
No.
critique about his ability, but just their vibe was a bit like, and it really put me on edge. And I remember going to the lady who does all the appointments. I said, like, just make me sure you get me to Mr. James again next time,
Yeah.
because this guy freaks me out. Oh, bless him. Oh, okay. So, so we're now on the day you've been told. Um, you've just told us how the conversation went, but what followed after? Because you don't go from one modus to the next very quickly, and you also have to break news to your loved ones and work and all
No,
of that.
that was it. So like, the work-wise, I told my boss everything that was going on besides with those appointments, like sort of straight away. Because it was all like with my math stuff, she was always like, oh yeah, keep me updated, let me know. So I told her, and my work was like incredible. She went, look, don't worry about it. Just let us know what's going to happen. Let us know the dates. Take as much time as you need off. We're going to pay you in full. You don't need to worry
Wow.
about anything. We've got your back. I mean, I've worked at my company for like 9 years, so
Yeah. Still, can we just touch on that? Like how incredible and relieving, and what a positive experience that
yeah,
is. And actually, also, I know we don't have a direct comparison, but I can only imagine that that level of support by an employer also contributes to your ability to be able to deal with what's in front of you right now, and actually contributes to your
yeah.
health.
Because I mean, assume so. Because I was like, I said to her, I was like, look, just let me know. I just need to know in terms of pay what's going to happen. If I don't need to, if I need to find support elsewhere, just let me know. Because obviously I wanted everything also before the operation. So then straight away she went to the owner of the company and went, look, no, don't worry. I've spoken to him. This at you. Don't worry about anything. You just concentrate on getting better, and then come back when you're ready. They didn't even like never even pressured me in terms of the say. I was the one that was like, when I was ready to go back and everything like that. I was the one
Mm.
probably putting pressure, not on myself, but just in general, just be like, look, this is what happened. They never once said to me like, "Oh, we need to back whatever." They were like, "Look, you guys take time." And it, my boss, my workmates, they were so great to me. Just like messaging me all the time while I was in hospital when I was having therapy. Just like it was nice to know that I had that. I had that.
Mm. Yeah, is this quite like, is this a small independent company, or is it a big
No,
global
there's only
thing? What
about
type of?
well, so with the part of sort of like a cluster of companies in my company there's only 5 of us, but the
Mm,
sister company we work with there's about 30, so it's like
okay.
less than 40 people work across the
Mm,
organisation, so it's very better than this work that they do as well. I work in payroll for recruitment agencies.
mm. No, I just hope if other employees hear this, that this is the type of support that someone needs. And actually, um, yeah, health can get really complicated, but I also feel like the fact that they were so supportive might have contributed to you being able to return not just earlier, but at a time that was right for you, and maybe in a way that was right for you as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like the fact that I didn't think about that while I was off, I think just made me feel just like concentrating and getting better, and then after that, the thing about that, and I didn't even need to update them all the time. Both both my bosses and my workmates was just asking me how I was, what's happening. And it was nice just to have
Mm.
that support from elsewhere.
Yeah, so more out of genuine concern rather than, "Oh,
Yeah,
we're down a man. We need
yeah,
we need
exactly.
help." Amazing. So before we get bogged down too much into this
Yeah,
conversation, I have so
that's
many
fine.
more questions, but we'll forge on. So you're leading up to the surgery. Tell us about your surgery and your your experience
Yeah,
with it?
so obviously after I had that, then the next thing was have my ped put in. Now where I had surgery and was, they don't put the ped in, so I had to that done at my local hospital. So they
Mm-hmm.
arranged that. So that was sort of the first experience. I had to have the
Mm.
operation to put it in. So that was like a half
Okay.
day going into hospital.
And just for anyone
Yeah,
new to the community, a peg is a feeding
yeah.
tube. So to help you continue your
Yeah,
nourishment.
so had that was like that was weird having that in. I was just like waking up and just having that a little tube just hanging out my stomach. I was like, oh. And, yeah, and I so that was sort of the first bit of the show. Took some time, like I say, I worked for that, and that was sort of the start of it. Trying to get everything in order. And then I think so. I think I got diagnosed on the it was 15th of February last year. I know that this is the day after Valentine's Day, so you know, nice Valentine's Day gift. And then after after having all the scans and everything, they put me in for the 12th of March for my operation. So 3 weeks in. Um, but literally, that's packed, registered, and then I heard from my surgeon secretary to say, oh, it's got COVID, we have to postpone it. So I was like, right, everything sorted, bad's registered, and then I was like, this, that, then they were like, we'll let you know after, we'll let you know by Thursday, but saying, hopefully it'll be better, and then if not, it might have to be postponed then. So I ran my boss that day and was like, look, they've postponed the operation, but I'm not coming in next week. I'm not going to work, but I'm doing that. So she's like, no, look, that's fine. Just take a week's annual leave, usually what you need to do. And I, I was very, that week, it was very tense because I just wanted it to know what was happening. And then, luckily, by the
Mm.
Thursday, I got a call from them, and they were like, "No, he's fine. He's ready to go. Come in on the Sunday, and you'll be ready for the Monday for surgery." And with that one
Okay.
phone call, I just felt everything. And
Mm.
I was like, right. Then so I had another
Yeah.
2 days to, just make sure I was ready, and yeah, and then went in on the Sunday night. So I was booked in. They said to come in at 4 o'clock. Had to have like my, I think it was like the vitamin milks and stuff like that, and foods, and make sure everything was there. Surgeon came in the night before, marked me down. So they originally went for a graft on my leg to take it out from my right leg. And so they did that, and they always makes me laugh. They put down the marker on my leg to make sure they're getting the right one. I was like, okay, just
Yeah, yeah. I had
yeah,
arrows, so they get the right side, don't take the wrong side. I was like, oh my god, I bloody well hope so.
yeah.
But yeah.
So that was in there. And my mum and my wife came. They were with me up until about. They were allowed to stay with me until about 9 o'clock. So we just sat in the room, had some food, and just chatted and just made sure everything was all right.
Mm.
Obviously, as going back, like having to tell, my wife was with me, but then had to tell my mum, my brother, my sister, and then just start
Mm.
saying other people who might not know anything's going on. And then also off the back of that, being the local councillor, had to also like let my fellow councillors know, and also like residents as well. So I have to like thinking about social media and how to tell the general public without. I didn't want to give a lot away, but at the same time, I'm like, it's a perfect chance to raise awareness. I was just like,
Yeah.
my first thing was like, shut your mouth. you know, Please do. It's like, it doesn't happen to anyone.
Yeah.
So once that,
Yeah. So yeah, so I guess you had your public duties as a
yeah,
councillor, and the general public knows who you are, and they've voted for you. And then I guess like I don't know if you received people wanting to help or send
It was
letters or
mostly just like
things like that.
from Facebook and things like that. Everyone just wishing me
Mm.
well, making sure I was okay, wishing me like prayers and things like that. And then, my fellow councillors, they were just looking after myself, and anything I needed, sit in touch with them as well. But luckily, then they were like, look, they're a bit better, they'll sort everything out, don't worry about anything.
Mm.
So on both sides, it was, what, I think people understand if they don't get back to them. That, I mean, even though at some points though, I was still, up until the operation, I was still like busy away doing stuff. It's like, it's a lot of stuff you can do just at home on your laptop, so it's not there.
Yeah, and also you're like, I guess because I know you a bit by now, but Marcin, you're someone who cares a lot, and I can imagine that you wanted to make sure that you didn't leave anyone in the lurch and that things were tied up and handed over and all of that. So you had plenty of stuff to keep you busy, I would
Yeah, that's
assume.
it. And, I wouldn't say this is there. I mean, the last time I went and said was to sit and think, but at the same time,
Mm.
also I went to relax before everything because I sort of knew that something, but then I had no idea at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I always feel a bit like I always I always feel quite desperately for someone who has to go into hospital the
Yeah.
night before. I was really lucky that they didn't have a bed for me, and I was delighted because there was no way I would have slept a wink the night before. Did you get any sleep? How was it
You
for
know what I
you?
did actually? I think because I was just everything was there. And I think I was so hyped up. I don't think I slept properly the 2 nights before.
Mm.
So coming to them, and I wasn't really sleeping properly because where where it was on the sun, and then what I found out afterwards was it was actually spreading in the nerves in my thumb. So
Oh
in
wow.
shooting pains, like up and down in my mouth, to the point where every time I dozed off to sleep, I'd get a shooting pain. It would shut me up. So
Oh wow.
I'm not,
Okay.
I said this to the doctor there. So I've literally like the sleep from that was just like that was the worst thing. Wasn't getting any sleep, and they're like, not a lot of this can really do until you have the operation. So I spent like a good
Mm.
month after, um, like in the run up, not really having much.
Yeah. So you actually had, well, you actually makes you a little bit rarer amongst the community. You actually had pain going in. I mean, I know a lot of people
Yeah,
do, but a lot of people also don't. So yeah, I always found it weird that I was going into hospital feeling absolutely fine, knowing I'll be feeling worse the other way around. But for you, you were like, "Oh, I'm just glad to get this done and over with, and I need this
yeah,
out." And yeah, focused
yeah.
on that.
So I basically my mum and my wife left. I had my that was had it with me. I sat and watched Rocky, which is a bit of a theme for me throughout my journey. Um, what's that? And then just
Did you
yeah,
say Rocky? Oh, I love this. I love this. Please tell me you were like, I'm coming for you.
yeah, I am. I was just like it was. I watching all of them. It's been like quite a theme for me in general, and like
Mm.
everyone's like put me like Russian stuff and things like that. So yeah, for me, listening to the Russian music and watching the films is like I just haven't watched them in a while now. I sort of had enough of it over that bit. So I need putting this out and watching them. But
Yeah.
so yeah, watched that, and then I think I fell asleep about midnight. Um, left my wife and my family voice notes, just like just didn't know what was going to happen the next day. Just make sure everything was right, and then they woke me up at 5 o'clock in the morning to have the nourishments and um, sort everything out. So yeah, I think I only had about 5 6 hours, but then I knew I was going to be asleep for another 12, so didn't really
Mm.
make much difference. So I went in, just prepared for everything, and I don't know. how you felt about it, but I was a bit excited. I don't know why. In a weird way, I was really like a bit excited. I was like, in a weird way, I was like, come on, I want this now.
Yeah. Well, you obviously, I mean, you were having the Rocky theme tune
Yeah,
in your head whilst walking down the corridor. For me, how was I? I mean, I was in really good
yeah,
spirits. I felt very positive. I was scared. I remember, but I also remember being so scared, and I didn't want to
mm,
let on because unlike you, I had Nick with
yeah,
me, and I didn't want him to see how terrified I was. But I was happy for him to be there. And there came a point, also, trying to get into those bloody socks that are
yeah,
just don't, way too tight. But it's like I was like, all right, I can really feel the nerves kicking in, and I needed music. So for me, it was Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer,
no,
which is such a weird choice. But no, that yeah, for me, but also music. And then I was like, okay, I've got this, I've got this. And then it's just like the kiss goodbye and going like, right,
yeah.
bye. I can't cry now. Disappear. Go. I'll see you later.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have any music with me or anything. I don't think that, besides I said
Mm.
that all my stuff there, they just like ruled me through. And I remember just going in, and then it was just like, right, yeah, it was just being in the theatre, and I was like, yeah, this is happening. And I think the
Mm.
first one was like injections for the anaesthesia.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, and then next thing I remember is going in and then waking up like on my back and just coming in back into the theatre, back into
Mm.
the intensive care unit.
Community care unit. Yeah. Did you also find that everyone was really kind and really
Yeah,
upbeat and
it's like
really
they know.
lovely?
It's like they know what
I
they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But also, if you think about it, they do this every day. And I felt, I mean, I felt so special because I was like, oh wow, they're just all being so kind for me. And then I'm like, oh no, they're always like that. And I just find that really admirable to anyone who works in that type of environment to really their calmness and positivity really helps a
Yeah,
patient to just not be absolutely terrified of what's about to
and that's it.
happen.
And then I just, the work they do, from the nurses up to the surgeons, and as we'll talk about in a bit, I was unfortunate enough to get to know them quite well because I was in hospital for quite a bit. So,
Mm,
but then once you get to know them more, my heart melts even more. I'm like, they're also great, and I'm getting to the point where I'm like, chatting to them just about, well, I say chatting, like writing to them, and just getting to know them. And there's not one person that's like, no, I don't like you. There's just everyone's just like, great.
mm. Yeah. The only thing I regret is that I was so high, I wouldn't recognize any of them anymore. And I thought so many times, oh, I remember having like a conversation with someone with blue hair, and though she was just so lovely. And then there was another lady and a bloke and a nurse. And I was just like, oh, but I would have no idea who they are, but they were so lovely. So who knows? Maybe they listen to this podcast. You gave us a bit of a hint that not everything went to
Yeah,
plan.
so at first, everything was right. I woke up, obviously, stiff as hell. I was like, sat, that first night, obviously, because it was a Saturday, and then I think by the time I came in, it must have been about 10 o'clock at night, and they were checking me every hour. Obviously, I had
Mm.
no sleep. I had no idea what was going on, and I was just on my back, couldn't speak. So the first 10 hours, I was just sitting there, and they were checking me every day, asking me if I was alright, seeing in um,
Mm.
my mouth and things like that.
And that reminds me, I should really ask, how much did they take? Like a quarter,
Probably
half,
about three
more?
quarters. So yeah,
Three
so
quarters.
I think what it is, it's half in general, but it's like three quarters at the top bit, and then I've got
Yeah.
over for that. So it's sort of like that. They're talking that much off, and I sort of got, so on that side I've got a sliver there, and then it goes round, and I have the whole of the back of my tongue.
Whole of the
Yeah,
back of your tongue, but missing most of your tip,
yeah,
basically.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
but from but when I've had the first operation, it was from, as I said, it came from my right thigh, and it felt like a hospital in my mouth. Like what was in there, I was just like, it was just like stuck over my mouth, and I was like, oh, this is
Mm.
weird. And then that next morning, first time I saw the doctor, he was like, right, not sound like you're gonna think, what the hell have I done? Rather put a hospital in your mouth, but don't worry, it's gonna go down, and it will go down quite rapidly. So just take a moment and do that. So from
And that is really important for anyone listening who's about to have one. They always try to make your flap a bit bigger because if you do require further treatment, it shrinks. Also, there's a lot of swelling. And if it turns out to be too big, there's a really quite nice, not a nice, like an easy
yeah,
procedure, not a nice procedure, but an easy procedure called debulking. So they can always make it smaller, but they can't make it bigger. So they always start off a bit bigger. So yeah, so you basically felt like you had a sock
yeah.
in your mouth, like a big old.
And
Ooh,
then for
yeah.
that, this is the first bit. Not a lot there. There's more. I just had other things. So I had vein here, vein there, vein in my thigh. I thought I had 4 veins, but I can't remember now. I think I might have had 2.
So just for everyone listening, Mus is pointing at his
Yeah,
neck on one side, neck on, well,
yeah,
lower neck, so below uh, the
yeah.
breastbone, basically around there. There's usually a hole and two drains
No, I
on
think
your
one
leg.
vein, and I think I had one on the
One drain
back as well. I think
on the back of
back of
your
my neck. Yeah, I
neck.
think
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had 4. It could be 3. I can't remember now. So that was fun having to like have them around, because the first 2 days was just like trying to just sit me out of bed. I managed to start roofing. I got out of the bed on the first day. I was like, I'm not lying here. So I managed to sit up and
Wow.
sit in the chair, and then they took me back. And then after 2 days, I started doing a bit of roofing and things like that. And then it was all just monitoring everything. And obviously I still had my tracheostomy in.
Hmm.
So the main bit was trying to make sure we get that out, and then that's when I should start like testing roots and things like that. So that was the
And the tracheostomy was there to help you breathe with all the swelling. So I assume you couldn't communicate only
no.
in
So yeah, I
writing,
had
yeah?
my right bruise and was doing that, and my
Mm.
wife saying it, she was there every day, and my mum was there like most days, and then I had 2 friends coming to see me at the weekends, which was lovely. And I think first time they took the track out, so well, not took the track out, what is it when they take it off to help you breathe on your own first. So
Yeah, do a
do the
little
test. So
test.
the first time they did that was horrible, because I hadn't, there my bed was still quite big. I was starting to breathe, so like no, we'll leave that. And then the next day we tried it for like an hour, then we tried it for 2 hours, until I've got to 24 hours without it. And this was so I was in on the Monday, so this was probably the following, so about after about 10, 12 days, so the following Thursday is when we started to like,
Mm.
because I wasn't allowed to leave the ICU until the SAP was out. So once the
Wow, okay.
tracheostomy is out, then they just take me off out the ICU. So
So you were in ICU a long
yeah,
time.
so they took it out, and then I started just sips of water, and decided that. Then really weird. Like just trying to navigate that, and then had that over the weekend, and then it was I've had as much water as I want. And then they were like, right, I think, if once this and bit is maybe have a bit of water or something, we'll try and get you home. And I was like, okay, so I was out there actually at this point, and it was one morning, and then I was in the toilet, and it started to bleed.
Yeah. So the flap started
Yeah,
to
I was
bleed
like,
in
oh,
your mouth.
but if I'm here, I was like, that was the night before, and I was like, ah, surgeon came and looked at it, sucked the beers in, everything seemed to be alright. Then the next morning, just in the routine checks, had the doctor out to find the
The
pulse,
pulse within it.
uh,
Yeah.
and he couldn't find it. So it was like, this is weird. Um, can't find it. Thought it was the doctor, so tried another one. They tried three doctors, couldn't find anything. So right,
Mm.
had to then pulled my surgeon, Mr. Patel, was like, right, I'm gonna have to call him. We'll find out what's saying. He couldn't find it, and was like, right, we're gonna have to get you back in, find out what's going on. And he said, look, if there's nothing there, I'll go in. If we can save it, if the race happens, we don't have the tracheostomy in. I've saved it. If not, then we'd have to take it out, and then we'll find out what we'll do. So at this point, this was in the morning, so my wife wasn't there. I had to tell her what was going on, and then they set me, went in, and then woke up, went until the tracheostomy was in. But doctors still don't really know what's happened because his all the doctors and surgeons there said a flat failing after 13 days is nearly impossible. None of them have ever seen it. And it was like,
Mm-hmm.
he reckons it's like a 0.0% chance. They said, if it's going to fail, it'll fail in the first 48 hours. After that, we're pretty
Yeah.
much home dry. We don't see flaps failing after that. So I was like, oh, great. So what happened is I'd had a neck infection, and it's obviously spread and healed off the flap.
Yeah.
Um,
So for anyone listening, again, just as a bit of a explanation, um, so in the flap, they use arteries from different parts of your body, depending where they take it from, and they basically that supplies blood flow to the flap, which then creates a pulse, which is what can be picked up by the Doppler. That's how they make sure there is still blood flow in this new piece of tissue. Now, with you, this obviously failed, and it can fail for many different reasons. We actually have got quite a few patients, surprisingly, I think, seeing as it's so incredibly rare, whose flap has failed. So it does definitely happen. But it's quite interesting because with every person I've spoken to, and I hope we'll have more people on the podcast in the future, and they all have different reasons why it failed, and sometimes it's failed really quickly and they know straight away. I do think it's very rare for it to fail
yeah,
that late. So you wake up and what did they do whilst you were under? And I assume you just gave them, I mean, I don't know how it works with consent. You just go, yeah, fix
yeah.
it.
I
Did
think I
they,
think I might have had to
yeah,
sign.
do whatever you
Yeah, I
need to
think I
do?
signed something. Um, yeah, I must have.
Yeah. I mean, in the moment, what would
Yeah, I
you
was like,
question? Would you would just go,
the
yeah,
so
save my tongue, please.
took out
Yeah.
took out the flap, and then they have to put in
Hmm.
basically it's like pussy. I can't really describe it. Basically, so basically, this is they didn't want to put a new flap in with the infection, so they just basically
Hmm.
wraps it. Makes it so just so that I had something of the form of what a tongue would
Hmm.
be, and then leave that in there until the infection goes down, and then where the infection was in the net, basically he was like, right, well, once it's here, we'll redo it, but we have to make sure it's here. So so then he was like, what we'll do is in the 2 days, then go back in, hear it all out, see what's happening, and then we'll take it from there. But he says, he basically said to me, probably not gonna, it's probably be a couple of weeks, we'll have to go in once or twice and just keep an eye on it. That ends up being 4 weeks. No, so
4
no,
weeks.
that ended up being 2 weeks.
Well, still, yeah.
So I ended up having them 4 operations in those 2 weeks, with the last one being the new construction. So it was basically,
Yeah.
it ended up being, I think, every Tuesday, Thursday, then on the last one, because in that between bit, it was Easter weekend, so I ended up, they couldn't do much over the Easter weekend because of staff and things like that. So I ended up with 6 operations in total while I was in there. And
that's 6 times general anaesthetic, 6 times opening, closing, 6 times still on the trach, not healing, or every time the healing that's been done is being reverted.
yeah.
Wow, Mus, that is
So
such a
like all
tough.
here, it's like basically they're in and out 5. It's either 5 or 6 times behind. I think it's 6. I'll just say 6. And so
Yeah. Who's counting at
yeah,
this point?
so
It's like,
in that 6 times. So but by the time I had the last surgery, it was so like warm here that it's so long for that bit to heal because it had been in and out so many times. But after that last surgery, I had that so I had that surgery on Thursday. From Thursday, Friday, Saturday, no, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they were checking me every hour. So I went 72 hours without any sleep because my surgeon was so like to make sure everything was alright. He was taking no chances. He was like, we're going to check this every hour on the hour for 72 hours and make sure everything's fine. And then every time they went in, checked the Doppler, then you heard that noise, which was like, boom, boom. I was like, oh, just as it is, every time they were doing it.
God, but the anxiety for 72 hours, for
Yeah,
every hour to go, is it that, yeah, okay, we're good for another hour. I guess that's when we talk about taking it moment by moment. That's taking it very
yeah.
literally, taking it moment by
And
moment. Just to ask, the flap, where did
so
it come
the
from?
second one was from here. Yeah, so
From the arm.
this is,
Yeah. The classic
yeah,
forearm flap.
that's better. Yeah, as you can see. So that comes from there. So then that was different from the first one because like first one was just a dead, but over here it was like whole, bandage up. Couldn't really move it, but they're telling me don't move it at first, but then try to. And so I was like massive, it wasn't a harsh, but massive bandage, laps up. So I'm sitting there
Yeah.
like that. But they
Yeah.
were, they're late as well because they're like, no, look, this is the left hand, this is the right handed, this is the don't want you not be able to sort of right. So so this is the left hand, so you should be able to write. And yeah, it was like constant checks. I mean, I woke up and then because from where there's fat, then there's this draft from my stomach to put in the arm side and the arm bit
Of course.
there, and that then the bits that I thought would be painful, like my mouth wasn't really, my mouth was fine. It was like it was the draft site and the site, having it on the stomach, it's like then. It's like then I flew over on the playground and but like about 100 times worse, and just felt like a raise on the there, and that's horrible.
Well, it's also a really inconvenient way because with the leg, at least your leg's out
Yeah,
of the way. And I remember laying there having a blanket over my foot and one leg, and then having, the rest sort of out because I didn't want to rub it. Having your arm in this weird styrofoam contraption
yeah.
with it upright. But then, yeah, I was really glad I didn't have anything on my stomach because that's where you're laying, coming up and down, it's pulling. Yeah, so were they not able to use your other leg, or is that just where they thought the best type of
No, I
skin
think
is for you?
after having the first one, it was like both his coming from the leg, he was like, I was like from the arm this time.
Okay, yeah.
And I think he says as well, he seems to think it's better from the arm, but it's more intrusive in the arm, so it's striking
Yes,
that balance. And then
absolutely.
one of my biasing memories is the Sunday where I'm like now like 70, 60 hours without sleep, and I was a mess. I was trying every little thing. Like I like my mum came with my brother, and then my wife came, and anything they say to me, I was just like, I was just like crying, but obviously
Mm.
couldn't express myself because I was just like very upset. I was just like, I'm just really, really tired. I just wanted to sleep.
Yeah, but yeah, mentally
Yeah,
as well. I mean, anyone who does any sort of endurance running or staying awake for that, I mean, it can drive you nutty. It can literally
yeah,
drive you insane not having quality sleep. So, and actually, you might have had the 72 hours, but before that, you had 4 weeks of not good quality sleep because you get prodded and everything beeps and all of
yeah.
that. So, no, totally
That's it.
understand.
But then
So,
after that, then they
yeah.
were like, right, that Sunday night was like midnight, and it's like, right, I'm not going to set you to 4 o'clock in the morning now, so try and get some sleep. And all I remember was, oh my god, and as soon as I like laid down, I was like, and yeah, I had the 4 hours sleep or 3 hours, whatever it was, felt like 12.
Mm.
I felt like a new person after that.
Oh,
So
wow.
after that, it's just a better and easier. It was that middle bit was like ah. But
Yeah.
then yeah, they kept saying obviously my surgeon was super paranoid about making sure it didn't come back. He was just they were all on it, and now at this point, I've been in for like 4.5 weeks. So I've put this in every surgeon. Because I think over the course of then I was in and out with the surgeon, with cleaning up the mess. It was different
Mm.
surgeons doing it as well. It just wasn't my surgeon. There's other people doing it as well. Um, so by the time I've met probably all the nurses, I've met all the surgeons. So now when I go back and I see a surgeon, I was like, oh yeah, so you twice when I was in there. It's fine. Like anyone can see me.
Mm.
I don't mind.
Oh, lovely. So you're getting to a point now where you're hopefully looking at discharge and
Yeah.
going home. What was it like to be home, and how long did it take until you were ready to face the
Yeah,
next?
so after they moved me out of the ICU, everything was right. Started having water again, and then it was like 2 spoons of water, then cups of water, and then they went have as much water as you want. Then the best bit about it was the next day was like drink whatever you want. So I was like, right, I want a
Mm.
banana milkshake. So I had
Mhm.
milkshake, I had coffee, I had like, and because at this point I hadn't tasted anything for 6 weeks. You know, I was like,
Mm.
been in there, everything was fed through my tube, so I hadn't tasted that. So starting that, and then just before I left, they were like, right, yeah, we can go home, try a bit of dessert, and then it was just like, yeah, take it easy on the liquid, like, don't try anything too hard, just sit to very, very soft, like yogurts and things like that.
Pureed soft
Yeah,
foods,
and
yeah.
then drink with your hand. And I mean, even having the milkshakes, first time I had them, they tasted really nice. So I hadn't had
Yeah,
anything.
it's funny
Yeah,
that, isn't it? At the beginning, you're like, "Oh, this is not
yeah.
too
By the end,
bad."
I was like,
Yeah, further down the line,
no.
yeah.
So when I was there, they were like, right, the only radiotherapy, probably some chemotherapy as well. Was it a referral for that? They booked me the referral while I was there. I came back out finally by the Tuesday, and then straight to the cancer unit in Guildford for my first
Mm-hmm.
referral with the radiology team there. So
Radiotherapy and
the oncology
oncology.
team. So straight coming out from that, asking all the questions, going through everything. I had one day whole at home, and then it was back out to have that start there. So I was
Wow. Okay. So no, hold on. From the moment you got home from your last
yeah.
surgery to having your first radiotherapy
No,
surgery, how much healing time did they
so
give
I
you?
had my first appointment with the team like 2 days
Okay.
after, and it was about a month until I started radiotherapy. After that, this is
Okay.
going back and forth, blood tests and fitting the mask, and I had to go back twice because the mask didn't fit properly the first time, so I went me to
Mm,
go back and do it again, and then
mm.
CT scans to make sure that. So that was, even though I was home for 3 4 weeks, I was still having to do that because at the same time as having to go and see the radiotherapy, I still had my fat was healing, my neck was still having to heal, so I was having to go to the back to where I had the first surgeries to go to the
Mm,
room clinic to sort that out, rather than having to go
mm.
to Guildford to have my initial appointments there. So
Wow.
at this point,
So,
then the really lucky was my wife was arranged with her work that she was able to. She works in the morning, so she worked like 7 till 1, and then in
mm,
the afternoons she'd then be able to take me to my appointments.
yeah.
But at that bit as well, because I wasn't going to radiotherapy appointments, they were able to arrange for she would take me. I'd asked for like the first appointment they should have at like 9 o'clock. She'd then take me the sort of the room stuff out and then come back home. She'd then be able to work from home, and then I'd just sit and go through the roof or something like that. So I know
Mm.
before talking about your journey, having to work to have your room set out, I wouldn't be able
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
that. Like that, that's hardcore. What you have to do. Um,
Yeah, well, having to walk to the
yeah,
walk-in
I,
centre.
yeah,
Yeah.
really lucky that my wife was able to have the time off, take me to the
Mm.
appointment, so that, and then they were very good. They were like, look, you sort it out, just let us know when the appointments are, and we'll work around it.
Yeah, it's amazing. But also, I mean, it's a very different set of circumstances. I had a quarter of my tongue removed, which is one thing, and secondly, I had one surgery, not
Yeah,
six. And also, I can only imagine now. I'm not a clinician, but like logic would tell me that the more you open and close a wound, the longer it then will take eventually to heal. So for you to then go into radiation like a month later seems so fast, but at the same time you want these things to go
yeah,
fast, don't you? So but yeah, and then I'm also then thinking, I know how many appointments I had like in like 6 8 weeks following on from the surgery, and it was
mm,
bonkers. I barely kept up with it, and yes, I had to do most of it by myself, but still. But then you had your oncology and radiation appointments on top of that. So yeah, so I mean, again, it goes to show the fact that your wife's employer was also making accommodations to even make this
yeah.
happen. and being treated at 2 different hospitals as well also has an impact location wise. So
But
wow, yeah.
the other thing was that then I started with the oncology. They referred everything over, so they were like everything went to them, and I didn't have to go back to the other. Apart from the room stuff, they were like, "No, you're with them. Stay there, so you don't have to." Because it was like one was in Swinstead and the other was in Guildford, and we're in the middle, so it's one side to the other. So they were like,
Yeah.
"You just stay with them." Met the nurses there, got to know them, and luckily, I think about the 3 or 4 days before my radiotherapy started, all my wounds had cleared up, so they'd
Closed.
all
Yeah.
closed. So I didn't need anything on there. It was only
On your neck.
the
The arm. Well, you say
yeah.
only. I mean, the arm. Yeah, but so and again, so that's the scar of the opening to get access to the tongue, but also I guess for the trichostomy, that
Yeah, that's
hole
it. Right
needs to
there. Yeah.
close. Yeah, there, and then all your other portholes. But I found them with me at least. They closed quite quickly. I didn't even notice it, and suddenly was like, oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
watertight.
I was saying that, like, especially
Yeah.
with the sat one, that would. Then
Mm.
after my first surgery, everything was healing. It was all like they'd taken all the stitches out, and that basically almost closed up, or it had closed up, and then I had to do it all over again after it
Again.
going in and out. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so the radiotherapy, everything had just about healed by the time I started radiotherapy, which was nice.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about radiotherapy. And you said they mentioned that there might be a need for chemo. So did you have radio chemo
Yes,
or
so
radio
I had 2 rounds of chemotherapy, one on the first day with the radiotherapy, and then one 3 weeks in. So it's two
3 weeks
rounds of
in? Yeah.
chemotherapy with 6 weeks of radiotherapy.
Okay. And when you say 6 weeks of radiotherapy, just for those that don't know, what does 6 weeks of therapy mean? Like how
So that it was
often does that
every
mean?
day, Monday to Friday, for 6 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
It
marathon.
was, and yeah, the first one I'm there all day because they had to do the chemo. So they'll put a UV drip in first, then do the chemo, and then they'll do another thing to rush it out. So I was there from,
Mhm.
and then they had to say that I think I was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then there till 4, and then in the middle of that, while I'm on the chemo, they'll tell me to go down, have my radiotherapy session, and then come back up. So
Come
sitting
back
there
up. Mm.
with my little
Your little bag
bag
of
of
drugs.
fun, and then and then the
Mm.
first day I had therapy, you do that, and they're like, oh, that's not too bad. I mean, I had the mask on, but it's then very tight, but I was like, it's just, it's what it is. I'm just going to sat on. And yeah, everything's fine for the first couple of weeks, and then what they did for the first uh, two, like on a Friday, because my wife's there, she would take the whole Friday off in the afternoon because I'm not my wife after taking me to radiotherapy. We'd stop off at a pub and have a little
Mhm.
mocktail or something like that. And then on the about 3 weeks in, I was like, there's a pub, sat there, hadn't size of my mocktail, and it just tasted really salty. And I was like, oh, here we go, this is now. And that's when the
Mhm.
taste started to go, and obviously everything was closing up, and started like the mucus and the hotting started to get bad. So first few bits we were able to do a few things after the radiotherapy. Then once that started hitting, it was literally like, no, have my radiotherapy session, come home, and I had my little bowl that I was just basically spit into, cut into loads of paper towels, and it was just, yeah, by the end it was, I was hurting so much I couldn't even talk. This is my mouth was so, my throat was
Mm.
so hoarse, and by the end I was basically just like, ugh.
Yeah. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Don't want to talk. I assume you didn't eat by the
No,
end of it
so I
either. Were you still able to
so
drink, swallow?
so I was eating up until I basically ate until the taste wasn't there, because everything tasted like really salty, um,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very I don't know how to describe it. It was it's just, yeah, it's just there's some things that like really salty, and then other things was just like they just tasted off, and so I was like, I'm not
Okay, yeah.
I'm not gonna bother.
Like stinky eggs type of
Yeah,
like
so
uh, over milk, stuff like that. Like you're
yeah,
like,
so I
no,
then
nope.
started
Okay.
putting the decision to doing that straight in. So I was doing that 4 or 5 times a
Mm-hmm.
day, and then every Monday I was down with the imposition for like blood tests, see the speech therapist, see the dietitians, and they was just like make sure see what was happening, make sure everything was they were happy with everything, and yeah, by the end I couldn't even have water. I was just putting water through the tube as well, because
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do everything. All I wanted to do was just go home and just like sit. But
Mm.
I did manage every day, no matter the weather or how I was feeling. I made sure I went out for a walk in the morning before, um, yeah, because my hair was working every day. She'd be
Mm.
up at like she'd be starting work for 7, so she'd be up at 6. I was just fed up
Mm-hmm.
with her because I'm like, I'm not the type of person. Once I'm up. I can't do that. So well,
Oh, Mus, you're hardcore. I'm like, you're not getting me out of bed. Nah, I'm staying here. I've got a really good
uh,
excuse to stay in bed. But no, Mus,
no,
you got
I
up.
was just sit up, and
Um,
then what I was doing is I'd go, so for the, I'd come back, and then I was just sit and maybe try and have a little sit. Then I went back because
mm,
we went for radiotherapy sessions in the afternoon. It was always like I always felt like, you know, there was always something to do. But
mm,
I like, so I was like, I want to try and hit pace with things normal. And then at the point where it was really bad, don't get me wrong, I was just like, nah, I was go back up to bed, had a nap. Weekend, I was just like, I was just going to do nothing.
yeah.
And you know, in the middle of my radiotherapy, it was my mum's 60th birthday. We were supposed to go to Cyprus for a holiday. I obviously we didn't end up going. She went away, and then also it was his birthday, right smack bang in the middle of me having radiotherapy as well. So normally
Mm.
we push the boat out, we do something nice, and the,
And I can
yeah,
witness this because we're connected on social media,
yeah,
and I can see you guys are the type of people who really enjoy life and live it to the full, and really do some really nice
yeah,
stuff, if I could
no,
say so myself. So yeah, that was well, it's a sacrifice for everyone
yeah.
involved, isn't
So
it? It goes beyond
I haven't
beyond
even eat
you.
anything. So this was
Mm,
a takeaway. We went for the around the National Trust, and then that was it. It was like I felt so bad. She said, "Don't worry about it. You don't need to." But
mm,
you feel bad that you can't do stuff, and
mm,
it's you're sitting there knowing that someone's not able to enjoy themselves because you're in this situation, and I know it's not.
mm,
It's we both know it's no one's fault, but I think this at the time this is it aimed it at the situation, that you
mhm.
find yourself in.
No, I think it's a really important a really important point that you raise, because this, yes, as patient, it affects us, as a number one, but it also affects everyone around us. And we're, at least temporarily for most people, not able to lead the type of life that we would want to. And that also affects our nearest and dearest who, look after us or spend their lives with us. So, yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from. I felt like that. Not during treatment, funnily enough, like my fatigue and stuff, it's we've had uh, conversations along those lines before where, it's not fair, but it's not fair for everyone
No,
involved.
and I think that is a shout out to the carers, and
Mm.
especially as though where it's that's a that's a wife or husband caring for you. It's that true role there that sometimes
Mm.
I so appreciate when you look back now, like the different hats that they have to put on, and whether it's like being the taxi driver, being the nurse, being a councillor, but I think that what's been great from my point of view is how once everything got better, how quickly we reverted back to type, and we went
Yeah.
back to being husband and wife, which was nice.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. That is absolutely lovely. I'm just conscious about the
No,
time. We're already running over, but that your story is so interesting, so it's fine. We never are punctual people on this podcast. But I wanna close out with. I know we haven't gone too much detail with the radiotherapy, and I know that I also know that it gets worse before
yeah,
it gets better. Nonetheless, I want to ask you how are you feeling now? So this was, uh, have you had your
yeah,
cancer
yeah.
nursery
I was
yet? Where
my
are we?
I finished radiotherapy July 4th last year.
July 4th. So we're just
Yeah.
over a year on. So how do you feel about life at the moment, and how do you feel about the
I feel
future?
great. I ran the London 10K a couple of months ago, smashing my PB. I ran it in under an hour, which I'd never done before. So that was good.
That there is something so awesome about being able to do something that you weren't able to do
Yeah,
before cancer. I totally dig you. Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome. So
So I've
amazing.
done that, and back at work full time. Back back with the council, and now sort of promotion at the council. I'm in charge of housing and support. So I'm on the executive at the council, which is something that has been my ambition before I've been a councillor. I was like, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it properly. So I've managed to do that, and I think I've also stood up and led speeches in front of people in the council chamber. I've answered questions. I've also done Q&A sessions with the members of the public and things like that. So doing that, especially with my with my speech, which I know is the biggest thing that's affected me. So to do that and speak, I don't care now. I was hooked, and as I say to anyone, I'm like, look, this is what happened. I've had three quarters of my tongue out. If you can't understand me, just ask me. I'm not. I'm not. I get people saying, sorry, pardon. I'm like, great. And I try it. And if I don't do it, I'll write it down. I'm like, you know what? I can't be. I'm not gonna
Mm.
pretend to. I'm not gonna pretend to be sorry for it. Like it is what it is. But at the same time, I know how much I've come on. To hear my speech straight after, I've got the recordings of my speech, and it's like a different. It's like hearing a different person.
Yeah, and I concur, because I met you for the first time last year. I mean, literally straight
Yeah.
out of treatment, and I really, I sorry, I welled up whilst you were talking, because I'm so
Oh, thank
proud of
you.
you, and also I am genuinely just so happy for you. And I really hope that anyone listening to this, especially anyone who's newly diagnosed, and it's such a scary place, and also we think in such of black and white terms that life as we know it is over and it's all bad. But what you just displayed is so hopeful, and please excuse me for saying it because we know we hate it, but it's so inspirational, and that you're just a living proof, and you demonstrate what happens, not by luck, by the way, because I know it's come with lots of hard work for you. This doesn't just happen. You have to do your
Yeah,
speech
I do that every
therapy,
day.
and you have to be tenacious. You have to go for those walks, and you have to slowly build that up. But you've
Yeah.
done it, mate, and I'm just so happy for you. Really, just
Yeah, and also
genuinely.
something that they haven't touched on was like I only found them times after I finished radiotherapy. So if I had it while everything was going on, I think my progress would have been even better because the advice I've seen in there and what to expect. I remember the first thing I asked was about speech therapy, and like people telling me, "Don't worry, no, it was it better." I think as with most people in our community, time is what you need. Everything that some people, does it. They can get to places in 6 months. Other people, it can be years. So
Mm,
I think that's the
mm.
one thing to say. Everyone has their own pace, but that the advice and what sausage in the soup helped me so much afterwards in the recovery, and just listening to and just seeing people's highs, and then you see the lows as well. Obviously, when you mention losing people, that's always in the. I know that's put in the back of most people's mind when you see um, then you do the announcements of people with loss, that's the extreme end. And then you see other people like, I know I saw the post of someone doing that 100,000 kilometre challenge this, last week. I'm like, that's amazing. Like, you seeing
Mm.
both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's very important. And the work you do, Barbara, is amazing. So I want to thank you as well.
Oh. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, you're totally right. Do want to pick one thing out that you mentioned: time. I do wonder, sometimes because we are so much younger and we haven't had that much time. It's like, come on, I want things to work now. I want to, it's one of the things that we get over and over again. There's people asking, why is my speech not better? And you go like, how far are you out? Oh, I'm out of surgery for like a month. You're like, you'll be
Yeah.
fine. Give it time. And it's the most annoying answer, and the whole pacey thing and everything, but it's
Well,
so
my
true.
speech
It all takes
therapist was just
time.
like, because I remember after surgery, after I was home, I was like, right, what can I do about my speech? And she went, absolutely nothing until after you finish radiotherapy. Then I'll see you. I was like,
Mhm.
but no. And then she was like, no, listen to me. And then 3 weeks later, when I hadn't saw it, I was like, yeah, what's the point? I'm like, nah. And then
Yeah.
afterwards, once everything had finished and everything had calmed down, then I was like, right, okay, now I can see the benefits, and I know I'm still, I think getting better every day, and learning every day. I learn about still about words I can and can't say. Thesaurus helps a lot. um, so
Thesaurus. Oh,
I
brilliant.
mean, I'll be happy to come on then, and we can maybe talk about radiotherapy in more detail. So now we haven't really
Yeah.
touched that, so maybe we can do a
No.
part two.
Absolutely. No, I am actually thinking, I mean, we're having lots of patient stories, but I also think we're going to pick out themes at some point and have little panels to like have cross
Yeah,
experiences all like at the same time. But yeah, most
I think
definitely would love
I
to have you
think one
back,
thing would
Mus.
be like exercise and stuff like that after everything. Because I know a lot of people.
Mm.
I know from the few people that chatted in the group, a lot of people used to do stuff before and they don't feel like they can do stuff after. But if you slowly, you can.
Absolutely, and I echo that because I used to be a couch potato and now I walk
Yeah,
up
exactly.
mountains. I didn't see that one
No.
coming. Oh, well, Mus, it has been an absolute
Thank you.
delight. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. Also, thank you for being such a impactful member of our community, giving back, and for all the other work that you do in your own community as a councillor as well. I do always like to pay tribute to that, because where would we be without all the incredible volunteers and people who do stuff for our communities, not just within tongue cancer, but beyond that. So, Mus, thank you so much. Listeners, thank you so much for being with us here again. We hope you enjoyed today. I should be better prepared to tell you what's coming next. I think it will be another interview, but I cannot tell you more because I haven't recorded it yet. In perfect Barbara organisation. But in the meantime, make sure you give us some really good reviews. Please, 5-star if possible, on our Spotify or wherever you're listening to this. And make sure you check out our social media and sign up to our newsletter, because there are some very exciting mailers coming out in the near future. Anyhow, that's all for tonight. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.